Hey friends, this is Rachel, the Water Fire Mama. This video is for anyone who is in survival mode and wants to help keep their relationships with their friends, extended family members, coworkers, and others positive and secure. We'll talk about leaning into the people who care for you, being polite to others, and covering them in mercy when they say or do unhelpful things. Welcome back. Right now, we're doing a series geared toward helping you cope whether the bottom has just dropped out of your world because of a life-changing event or you're dealing with the day-to-day struggles of long-term high-impact caregiving. One of the major things we need to think about as we face crisis is how we can maintain the relationships in our lives. When our son Luke was born with a severe congenital heart defect, he stayed in intensive care for about 4 months while we waited for him to have and then recover from his first open heart surgery. I remember, especially in those first weeks of NICU life, how narrow my focus was. I didn't have tolerance for any foolishness, and any reaching out that I did towards others was completely selfish in nature. I think it's normal to have all of your available energy devoted toward surviving the crisis that you find yourself in, especially early on while you get the hang of things. But God created us for community. We need people and other people need us. It's not good for us to completely neglect our family, friendships, or other more peripheral relationships like coworkers and church members. In winter 2010, when we were in the hospital awaiting Luke's second open heart surgery, David and I received news of the death of a young woman named Jenny, who was part of a family we were acquainted with in Abilene, Texas during our grad school years. Jenny's precious mother and brother wrote a very practical book about grief called Scarred Hope by Beverly Ross and Josh Ross. David and I have used many principles from this book, and I want to share a few of them with you today because I believe they are extremely pertinent for those of us facing long-term diagnosis and caregiving. First, lean into the people who care for you. I think when the bottom drops out of your world, that's scary for a lot of people around you. Beverly Ross says, many of us are walking out another's nightmare. Most of those people don't know what to say or do in order to be helpful. Once in a while, though, we find people who get it, either because they've walked through water and fire like ours, or because they've developed really good empathy skills. Sometimes they show up at the hospital with a care package and a bag of quarters for the vending machines. Sometimes they open their home to have you for a delicious meal and a brief respite from the crisis. Sometimes they show up in the form of a laundry fairy, taking all the dirty clothes away and replacing them with neat, fresh-smelling bundles. Some of them are just really good at listening and asking caring questions while you tell the part of your story that's unfolding right now. Wherever you encounter these people with their beautiful gifts, lean into them. My gymnastics coach from my high school days used to say, "Don't be a hero. Now is not the time to try and go it alone. Accept the gift of support in whatever form it comes in. Give yourself permission to rest on their kindness for a while. It will help you make it that much further down the road." Also, don't be afraid to ask for support. I have to admit that it has classically been really hard for me to ask for help from others at times. But the further I get on down this journey, the more I realize that generally when people say, "Call me if you need anything," they sincerely mean it. So much of the time, they can't anticipate your needs though, so you have to be brave, get clear about what kind of help you need, and then ask. Second, when people say stupid stuff, cover them in mercy. Just like the people walking beside us don't know what we need, they often don't know what to say either. Some of them won't say anything, and their silence hurts us. Some people say dumb things, and those words can hurt us too. Before the bottom dropped out of your world, maybe you can remember how difficult it was to come up with the right thing to do or say in the face of someone else's pain and grief. Don't assume people are trying to hurt your feelings or make themselves look good at your expense. Most of the time, the people around you are offering the best thing they can think of. If someone says or does something that hurts you, try not to take it personally. If you have the bandwidth and you think they might be open to it, take a moment to gently educate them about your situation, why what they said wasn't helpful, or what they could do better. If you don't, it's okay to thank them for thinking of you and walk away. Don't dwell on their insensitive comment. We can't control what other people do or say, only what we say, what we do, and what we focus on. You need all available energy to navigate the crisis in front of you, so don't waste it on analyzing what they said or their motivations for saying it. Extend mercy and forgiveness to them and move on. Finally, be kind. When we're spending so much energy on survival, it can be really challenging to care about others who are outside of your crisis bubble. Take this as your gentle reminder to be polite and kind anyway. Going through a difficult time doesn't give us license to be rude or take people for granted. Remember that even the people closest to you don't really know how it feels for you to experience what you're going through. Strangers, food service workers, and the lady on the phone from the insurance company don't have a clue, and they very well might be in the middle of a crisis of their own. I found it helpful to give myself a little pep talk before I have to go out in public on the hard days. All right, Rach, we're going to be patient, gentle, and kind. When we're hurting, no one can expect perfection, so don't demand it of yourself. If you've been short or acted unkindly, an explanation and an apology can go a long way. People are always watching us. Even in the midst of our crisis and pain, we want to be instruments of God's love. My next video is going to be for the people surrounding the high-impact caregivers. We'll talk about what you can say and do to support those near you who are in crisis. Don't forget to download my free guide to caring for yourself in crisis. The link to get that is in the description. And please subscribe to the Waterfire Mama channel so you know when I've got a new video for you. Remember, Waterfire Walkers, you probably don't feel like you have it all together. You may not even feel like you can take one more step. But there is a God who goes before us, who is our rear guard. He is going to carry you through these tough days. He's got you, and I'm here to help. I'll see you next time.